Hello students, in today's video I will be posting one more question for those who are preparing for PUC supplementary examination. Today's video is about important 10-mark question. In the coming days I will try to upload a video regarding match the following and arrange in chronological order. Please do check my videos daily, and those seeing the channel without subscribing, please do subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. And also click the bell button to receive notification whenever I upload new videos. So let us see the last 10-mark question for your supplementary preparation. The question is, explain the life and achievements of Ashoka. Ashoka was the greatest ruler of the Mauryas. So life and achievement of Ashoka, any personality question regarding any personality comes, first you have to start with that person's life as an introduction. So Ashoka was the greatest ruler of the Mauryas. He is mentioned in his edicts as Devanampriya and Priyadarshi. So two titles of Ashoka, we can say that Devanampriya and Priyadarshi were the two titles of Ashoka. He came to power in 273 BC, but his coronation was celebrated in 269 BC. So Ashoka's coming to power was recorded like in 273 BC, but his coronation or the crowning was celebrated in 269 BC. Now let us see the important events in the life of Ashoka or the achievements of Ashoka. So the first main event in the life of Ashoka was the Kalinga War, which took place in 261 BC. Kalinga was a powerful kingdom, and Ashoka wanted to extend his power over Kalinga. So every strong king will want to extend their power to the neighboring areas, and Kalinga was a powerful kingdom, so Ashoka wanted to extend his power over Kalinga. For that he marched up to Kalinga and a fierce battle was fought. So he he reached up to Kalinga and a fierce battle was fought. The 13th Rock Edict gives us details about the conquest of Kalinga and its result. So as we have already seen in the Rock Edicts, Ashoka was called as Devanampriya and Priyadarshi. The Kalinga War, Kalinga was a powerful kingdom, and Ashoka wanted to extend his empire over to Kalinga, and he marched up to Kalinga and a fierce battle was fought there. The information about this Kalinga War is given in the 13th Rock Edict. According to that, about 1 lakh soldiers were killed and about 1,50,000 was captured as prisoners in the war. So the Kalinga War was so fierce that almost 1 lakh soldiers were killed in the battle, and almost 1,50,000 were captured and they were taken as prisoners of war. Ashoka was filled with sorrow at the sight of bloodshed, that this became his last war. So when Ashoka saw that almost 1 lakh soldiers were killed and many were wounded and many were taken as prisoners, he was filled with sorrow. At the sight of this bloodshed, he was filled with sorrow, and because of that, it became his last war. He decided not to wage war in the future. So Ashoka decided that from now he will not fight any war. So he decided that he will not wage any war in the future. He changed his foreign policy from Digvijaya to Dharma Vijaya. That is, Ashoka decided to stop Digvijaya, that is, to stop military conquest or to stop fighting a war, and he decided to follow Dharma Vijaya, that is winning the heart of people or encouraging Dharma. That was the change in Ashoka's foreign policy. That is, he changed his foreign policy from Digvijaya to Dharma Vijaya, that is from military conquest to winning the heart of the people. Kalinga War thus became a turning point in the life of Ashoka. So Ashoka's life, Kalinga War was a turning point. And after that, he embraced Buddhism under the influence of a Buddhist saint, Upagupta. After Kalinga War, Ashoka decided to change his policy from Digvijaya to Dharma Vijaya, and he got converted, or he embraced Buddhism under the influence of a Buddhist saint, that is Upagupta. And Ashoka's empire extended from Kashmir and Afghanistan region in the north to Karnataka in the south, and from Bengal in the east to Sindh and Baluchistan in the west. So the 13th Rock Edict gives us information about the Kalinga War and its result. According to that, about 1 lakh soldiers were killed and about 1 lakh 50,000 were captured as prisoners of war. Ashoka was filled with sorrow at the sight of this bloodshed, and then he decided that he will not wage any war in the future. And thus he changed his foreign policy, that is from Digvijaya to Dharma Vijaya. And Kalinga War became a turning point in the life of Ashoka. He later embraced Buddhism under the influence of a Buddhist sannyasi Upagupta. And Ashoka's empire extended from Kashmir and Afghanistan regions in the north to Karnataka in the south, and from Bengal in the east to Sindh and Baluchistan in the west. Now let us see about the edicts of Ashoka. So when a question is asked about life and achievements, his edicts can also be considered as one of his achievements. He was the first to issue edicts in India. And what are edicts? They help us to know about his ideals, his outlook, and also about religion, society, and administration of Mauryas. So on the edicts will be on pillars, rocks, or whatever it is, and these edicts will help us to know about his ideals, outlook, and also about the religion, society, and administration of Mauryas. The language of the edict, that is Ashokan edict's language, was Prakrit, Pali, and Greek, and the script used was Brahmi and Kharoshthi script. So it was written in Prakrit, Pali, and Greek language, and the script used was Brahmi and Kharoshthi script. The edicts are classified into major rock edicts, minor rock edicts, pillar inscription, and cave inscription. As I have already told you, edicts can be on rocks, it can be on pillars, it can be on caves. So his edicts are classified into major rock edicts, minor rock edicts, pillar inscriptions, and cave inscriptions. And some of the Ashokan edicts which has been discovered in Karnataka are found in places like Maski in Raichur, Gavimata in Koppala, Brahmagiri and Siddhapura in Chitradurga, etc. So these were the places in Karnataka where Ashokan edicts have been discovered, that is Maski in Raichur, Gavimata in Koppala, Brahmagiri and Siddhapura in Chitradurga district, etc. So Ashoka was the first to issue edicts in India, and the edicts help us to know about his ideals, outlook, and also about their religion, society, and administration of Mauryas. They were basically written in Prakrit, Pali, and Greek language, and the script was Brahmi and Kharoshthi script. The edicts can be classified into major rock edict, minor rock edict, pillar inscription, and cave inscription. And some of the places where Ashokan edicts have been found in Karnataka, Ashokan edicts have been found in different parts of India, but in Karnataka, the places where it was found are Maski in Raichur, Gavimata in Koppala, Brahmagiri and Siddhapura in Chitradurga, etc. Now Ashoka also gave one more contribution, that is, as we have already seen, he got converted into Buddhism under the influence of a Buddhist saint, Upagupta. After that, he adopted a lot of measures to spread Buddhism. So what were the measures adopted by Ashoka to spread Buddhism? Ashoka was responsible for the spread of Buddhism not only in India but also outside India. Some of the measures adopted by him for the spread of Buddhism are: he visited Buddhist holy places such as Lumbini Garden, Gaya, Sarnath, etc. and arranged discourses or meetings or discussions on religion. So Ashoka was responsible for the spread of Buddhism not only in India but also outside India. Some of the measures adopted by Ashoka for the spread of Buddhism are: he visited Buddhist holy places like Lumbini Garden, Gaya, Sarnath, etc. and there he arranged discussions on religion. Another measure was he built a large number of monasteries all over the empire, and he spent large sum of money in endowing them. So for the purpose of building monasteries, he spent a large sum of money, and he encouraged or he developed the monasteries in different places, that is all over the empire. He spread the doctrines of Buddha by engraving them on rocks, pillars, etc. So he wanted to spread the principles or teachings of Buddha, and for that he engraved them on rocks, pillars, etc. He also appointed officers called as Dharma Mahamatras, Yuktas, Rajukas, all to spread dharma among the people. So different officers were appointed by Ashoka for the spread of dharma, such as Dharma Mahamatras, Yuktas, Rajukas, etc. So Ashoka was responsible for the spread of Buddhism not only in India but also outside India, and he took a number of measures to spread Buddhism. First was he visited Buddhist holy places like Lumbini Garden, Gaya, Sarnath, etc. and there he arranged discussions on the religion. He built a large number of monasteries all over the empire, and he also spent large sum of money in endowing or developing them. He spread the doctrine of Buddha by engraving them on rocks, pillars, etc. And he also appointed officers called as Dharma Mahamatras, Yuktas and Rajukas to spread dharma among the people. Another measure taken by Ashoka was he also appointed Stri Adhyaksha Mahamatras, that is officers to take care of women and bring religious awareness among them. So for spreading the idea of religion among women, he appointed Stri Adhyaksha Mahamatra to take care of women. He also organized the third Buddhist council at Patliputra in 250 BC. Ashoka sent missionaries to preach Buddhism, and he sent missionaries to places like Afghanistan, Burma, Sri Lanka, etc. And he also sent his own son Mahendra and daughter Sangamitra to Sri Lanka with a Bodhi sapling as a symbol of peace. So he wanted to spread the teaching of Buddha in different parts of the world. That is why he sent missionaries to Afghanistan, Burma, Sri Lanka, etc. And he also sent his own son Mahendra and his daughter Sangamitra to Sri Lanka with a Bodhi sapling as a symbol of peace. He also undertook many welfare activities, and his main motto was service and sacrifice. So Ashoka undertook many welfare activities and his main motto was service and sacrifice. So from all these we can understand the importance of Ashoka in history, and Ashoka was the only king in history to renounce or give up war even after victory. Okay, Ashoka renounced war even after winning a war. So Ashoka appointed Sri Adhyaksha Mahamatra to take care of women and bring religious awareness among them. He organized the third Buddhist council at Patliputra, and he also sent missionaries to different places like Afghanistan, Burma, Sri Lanka, etc. He also undertook many welfare activities, and service and sacrifice was his motto. Ashoka was the only king in the history to renounce war even after victory. So all these are the points related to the life and achievements of Ashoka. So first you start with life, then you write about the Kalinga War, how he got converted into Buddhism, and you can then write about Ashokan edicts and the measures taken by him to spread Buddhism. So I hope you have understood all the points very clearly. So please learn all these question and answers thoroughly. Next video I will be putting about match the following and arrange in chronological order. During that time you can also refer to the exam preparation video in this channel. There is a separate playlist for that, and in that I have uploaded many important questions, and I will put the link for that playlist in the description box and also in the end card. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. So I hope to see you soon in the next video. Thank you for watching.